My name is Andy Nichols, and I teach the Wilson Reading Program for kids with dyslexia. And I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do when I grew up. I started teaching language arts here for a couple of years, and I moved over and took over for another teacher. And it turns out it's my favorite thing that I think I could be doing. When I taught language arts, I really enjoyed the stories and everything. And the thing I like about teaching the kids with dyslexia is I get to see the improvement, and there's definitely gains that they can make. And I find myself talking about the different sounds that are in a word and explaining how they get the sounds that they make and teaching them all these different rules. And I get super fascinated with them. And the funny thing is, I go to explain those rules to somebody who doesn't have that difficulty reading, and they're like, it doesn't mean that much to them because they don't actually need to know that to read a word. They can just go through. But for instance, when I was growing up, I always knew that C could make a k sound or a s sound, but I didn't realize there was a reason when it did it. I just thought that any given word could do one or the other, and you just had to know. But the truth is that there's a rule to it. For instance, if there's an E, an I, or a Y after it, your C is going to make a S sound, like city or cell or cyclone. And I just didn't know that. And so it's been interesting for me to discover that as I go and teach these rules to the different kids. And it's another interesting part is that they all have slightly different parts of the language that they get tripped up on. Some might have that C rule down, but they mess up an A when it says in Alaska. It's a really weird sound for an A to make. I had a girl named Alyssa who didn't realize that her name didn't say A or A, that it was making It was a very interesting day for her. That's another thing I like to do. I like to take people's names and explain to them why their name's spelled wrong because it acts differently. Malandricula was a fun one to talk about one day. The thing that I just really like about it is watching them get better and explaining and sharing, and it's done a lot for me. Growing up, I didn't really have the difficulty reading, but I had a terrible time spelling. And now that I know all these rules, I can still misspell a word, but I can at least phonetically have it down. I can narrow it down to like 3 or 4 different ways to spell that word and explain why they're all right, but only one of them happens to be right. And I would inevitably pick the wrong one, but at least I can narrow it down now. And so, thank you very much for watching this is the first time I've been on YouTube. I'm kind of excited about it. Or Facebook, or either one, really. Thank you.